Welcome.
Well,
Where are you
you have
calling from,
just,
and do you
Where
have
are you calling
I'm
from?
from South Africa. I'm from South Africa, but I am in Atlanta, Georgia.
Okay.
Jon and Soren, I want to thank you for what you're doing. You have come at just the right time in my season of life. I want to start by saying, when you went to the mountain, I was at Table Mountain in Cape Town. I don't know
Yes.
if you guys know how powerful that mountain is. I started in my life in an amazing family, amazing country that was torn by greed. And I went through, I'm shaking right now, so I'm trying to contain myself. The country
Take your time and
was,
don't worry about containing yourself. We've got all the room in the world for
Okay,
you to be
thank you.
just as you're feeling.
All right, yeah, I'm feeling vulnerable because I was playing with my grand kittens and literally hurt myself. I'll be heading to the hospital after this. But anyway, so let's put that aside. South Africa, my beloved country of 39 million, was freed from apartheid 26 years ago. I was born into an activist family. Some of you have read about this, but some of you, maybe you haven't seen it. But I was born into a family of 6 with a twin brother, to my activist father and my mother, who was a nurse working 12-hour shifts. I was shipped or sent to my grandmother on a one-way ticket because I tend to ask a lot of questions. My nickname is Stubborn Goat because I don't take no for an answer.
Stubborn goat.
Stubborn Goat, yes.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah, my grandmother called me Stubborn Goat. My mother called me a spitfire. If you see the thing that flies and you just see smoke, they say that's me, and a Duracell battery. So those are labels I was given, but I was comfortable with them. I didn't care. And the reason they did that is I always wanted to understand the why behind everything from a very young age. Why is my father not here? Why have I never met him? Why did he choose to fight the government when everybody else is taking care of their children? I never got an answer because in my culture, you don't ask questions about adult decisions. So my mom said, okay, enough is enough. Here's your ticket. Your grandmother wants you. So anyway, I got to my grandmother, Koko Machaba, that I love with all my heart. And she said, okay, here is the rules of the Machaba family. You wake up 4 o'clock in the morning, you take the supplies and go sell in the market 5 a.m. because your mom is still paying for all your other brothers and sisters, and you're gonna have to pay for your own school fees. It's free for whites and blacks have to pay. Fast forward, I signed on to that job, no alarm clock. When I wake up in the morning, there's a beautiful aroma of freshly baked meat pies, boiled eggs. I wear my uniform and hit the road. I've never returned home with any inventory. I sold everything. So I was an entrepreneur from the age of 7. And I learned market segmentation. I learned how to study and use breaks, not to play, but sell peanuts. So I actually had 300% profit every day. In the afternoon, I'm back at the market and I was selling vegetables and all that. I'm telling you that so you can understand the story of South Africa. 90% of the population are Black, some Indians, some Chinese, but mostly Black like me. We have political power after a big struggle. My dad died right after being released from Robben Island. I never met him. I never had a chance to say, Daddy. I was so mad at him. When my grandmother told me everything that my dad did, my dad literally emptied the bank account to run the ANC underground movement.
Wow.
He worked in Tanzania. A lot of the government officials were trained by him. He tried to cross when my twin brother and I were born. He was almost arrested. He went back to Tanzania, 63. He crossed and he was arrested. He never met us. He was buried. We never went to the funeral. I always ask myself, why did I have to grow like this? I actually got so mad that I even changed my name from my father to my mother's name, my maiden's name. So my twin brother is Lawrence Silepe and I am Laura Machaba Abiodun. But I moved back to Silepe literally 3 months ago. That's when I forgave my father. It was a long process.
So Laura, can I interrupt you for a second?
Yes.
Just because this whole thing is going to end at 3,
Sure.
is it possible for you to kind of focus in on where you want to take this so that we can understand what you're falling in about?
So the question is, that's what I'm saying, it was loaded. So the question is, my mission now is to bring peace through compassion and kindness and win back the economic power for the majority in South Africa, but for all, because the majority have 90% political power and 10% economic power. The minority white, I apologize if you are offended as a white person, have the 90% economic power and have everything else. They know the switch, they know the engine. I want to leverage the forces around me, universities, all of you with mindfulness, and do it with elegance and gravitas, and empower everyone so that people can see that there's a loaded pizza that you don't have to fight over a slice. Talk to me.
Beautiful. Well, just a deep bow to you for, just your life trajectory and the amount of suffering that you experienced as a girl, and also how you creatively dealt with all that. And, I'm very touched that we've talked about this before. There are not that many people of color who, if you scan the gallery, not that many people of color actually sitting with us on a regular basis. And I can understand why, because why would people of color necessarily want to sit with, some white guy who's guiding meditations? But we're really together looking for some new way to transform the world so that the kinds of things that your father was hoping for and fought for, along with Nelson Mandela and everything else, aren't betrayed by, all sorts of forces that, as you're putting it, have everything to do with greed. And they're very often associated with the irony of that revolution was that it won, but still 90% of the wealth and power is in the hands of white people, even after the revolution. So I've been to Robben Island. I actually, got a tiny little, unimaginably little taste of what that hellhole was like and how long people were there and how many people died there. So I just want to say that I really appreciate that you're bringing South Africa into the conversation, and that there's no prescription here for kind of doing it right. You can have a revolution that itself actually should have succeeded in ways that perhaps it didn't. And we need to try to understand how to be wise in ways that require everybody, including every single one of us, and especially, you know, the way you framed it for yourself, that, you know, you bring your own unique power and energy and feistiness to it, and more power to you. Thank you for raising your hand.
I
And I hope you
appreciate
didn't
that.
injure
And this,
yourself too badly if you have to go and see what, you know, what happened because you were playing with your grandchildren earlier.
yeah, I'll be fine. Don't worry. My father's cell was next to Mandela's cell. It was 4665.
Okay. Wow. Well,
But if you
it's
go to
almost,
South Africa, you can see him at the Apartheid Museum. That's the best picture I got of him.
okay.
But
And
thank you so
thank you
much
for also
for
what you
letting
said
me have
about,
a chance.
thank you for also for what you said about Table Mountain, because for
Yes.
anybody who has not been to Cape Town region, South Africa, it is a colossal geological, I don't know exactly what to call it, manifestation of the, you know, sort of the way the earth can be. You know, it's a very, very high plateau, and it dominates the entire, you know, region around Cape Town and
It has a lot
nurtures
of
it in
power.
profound ways. Very powerful.
Yeah.
So thank you, and good luck to you. And thanks for being here.